Welcome to another episode of Barman Saturdays, and this week I decided to take a look at The Nutty Professor. Also known as The Nutty Professor Facing the Fear, The Nutty Professor 2, and The Nutty Professor 2 Facing the Fear. Yeah, this movie's got a lot of alternative titles, and I haven't even looked at the Internet Movie Database to find out if there's more alternative titles you can find this movie under. I just found all those on Wikipedia, so there's probably others out there that will also raise an eyebrow. You're like, how many different titles can a movie have, you know? And you're probably going, wait, this is The Nutty Professor 2 in some circles? Yes. Yes, it is. It's actually a sequel to the 1963 live-action film starring Jerry Lewis as Julius Kelp. He actually comes back to reprise the role of Julius Kelp here, so he does some voice acting for this film, though Jerry Lewis has been involved with all of the Nutty Professor movies. He's even involved with the Eddie Murphy ones, which he apparently doesn't have the highest opinion of because of all the fart jokes in those. I understand it. I mean, let's face it, potty humor is pretty low bar, so, overusing it can be kind of annoying. You don't want to be known as the guy, that makes the constant fart jokes, usually. Because people start to expect it out of you, and it's not as funny anymore. There's only so much you can carry, with, passing gas. Of course, the other thing I noticed about this film, on the back of the box is that, down here it says the Weinstein Company was involved with making this. And I will try not to judge this film based on the fact that the founder of one of the companies involved is Harvey Weinstein, a convicted sex offender, who was accused by over 100 women of various forms of sexual misconduct, from sexual harassment to rape. I really shouldn't bring that kind of baggage into the movie itself, right? Because how much, involvement, the boss had with this, I don't know. And quite frankly, he can be a terrible guy and still make good movies, no matter how horrible a person he is. So, we'll try not to think about that while discussing this movie. Of course, another thing I noticed on the back of the box, is they can't seem to agree on Howard Kelp's character model, because you look at that, his glasses are one way, then you look at the smaller images, his glasses are another way, and then they switch it again in this photo where it's like this photo image. Like, okay, they're not photos, but CGI images. Like, they can't seem to agree on what direction his glasses face. And I noticed some inconsistencies on Howard's size as well, because during a race scene later in the movie, he keeps switching back between, himself and his alter ego. And Howard is noticeably shorter than his alter ego Jack by about, I want to say, a foot or more. So, all of a sudden, in the race, Jack will switch places with him, because Jack apparently can do that. Yet this doesn't cause Howard to become super short, because we saw him take a ride with Polly at one point, and he basically can, fit his entire arms and legs and almost entire body around her head. So, they seem to have some size inconsistency issues when it comes to Howard. Like, how short is he? That kind of annoys me. Kind of reminds me of the bandage scene in The Irresponsible Captain Tyler, where the bandage keeps magically changing size. I almost think you could form a drinking game around that. Every time the bandage appears on screen, it's changed, how big or small it is, or how long it is. Take a shot. Though I imagine you'd end up pretty damn drunk by the end of it, because that scene goes on for quite a bit. So you'd be quite smashed, probably, depending on how strong the alcohol is. So maybe not the most advisable drinking game there. But yeah, another odd thing with this movie in particular is there's just not that many reviews for it. I found one review on YouTube where a guy was rather positive about the film, gave it like a 7 out of 5, or I think it was a 7 and a quarter out of 10. Sorry, not out of 5. That'd be nonsensical. So he gave it 7 and a quarter. Common Sense Media also did their own review, and they gave it a 2 out of 5, which makes sense for them, because there are quite a few things I could see them objecting to, like the fact that we spend most of the movie falling around, bullies, and even, his love interest, Polly McGregor here, hangs out with 2 bullies and admits that, they're fun to hang out with, but I'd never date any of them. Like, well, why are you hanging out with people that you admit that you aren't interested in romantically at all? I guess that's an unfair question, but it seems weird that the people you hang out with wouldn't be, represent, the kind of person you'd be looking for in a partner long term somewhat. because why would you hang out with the bullies otherwise? Like, even when she first gets introduced to Jack, Howard's alter ego, he introduces himself by basically making a complete jerk out of himself, stealing a drink off a tray meant for someone else, slurping it down real fast and slamming it on the floor when he was done with it, stealing someone's pizza, insulting her friends. If you're not interested in those kind of guys, why were you ever interested in Jack for even a few moments? It's stuff like that just raises eyebrows. Like, they didn't think the plot out very well. Ugh. So yeah, I got rather meh opinions about this one. The comedy, might have decent timing and stuff, but then there's stuff with the plot that just makes you go, why am I even here? So it doesn't matter how good the comedy is. Because don't get me wrong, it got a few laughs out of me, but plot-wise and message-wise, it's a mess. They're just better films, if you want to show something to your kids to watch out there, okay? And if you're watching it as an adult, you're going to be like, well, there are better options even for me if I want something with a bit more adult humor in it, and maybe better messaging to go along with it, with my comedy. Like, I'd recommend Puss in Boots, over this film, and I already discussed, my issues with some of the plot elements of Puss in Boots previously. But this one, is way worse. You'll notice it while you're watching. And then there's certain things that never really get an answer in this film. Like, why on earth is there an alien in this film? I'm not kidding. There's one of his roommates is an alien, and they don't even really explain it. Like, where did he come from? They're like, well, maybe his home planet was invaded. Like, okay, but why did he come to Earth? Why hasn't he been captured by scientists, and dissected or something at this point? Like, are there more, alien, refugees on the planet somewhere? Why do we never see any of them? Like, it's stuff like that that just, sends me off into crazy tangents, and I just bugs me, even as I'm watching the film. It takes me out of the jokes and stuff and makes me wonder, what on earth is going on? And I imagine Common Sense Media was less than thrilled watching, Julius Kelt beat up his grandson by turning into Buddy Love and start giving his grandson the purple nurple and all the other usual bully tactics you see in old movies and stuff. So, yeah, just pass on this one if you're looking for a kids movie. If you're an older audience member and you're curious, I guess if you can pick it up dirt cheap, maybe take a gander at it. But otherwise, it's just one of those forgettable CGI movies that you can just pass on hard and really not feel like you lost that much. Till next time, then. See ya.
You're gonna get it, Kelp.
It's an angry mob! No, it's not. There are like 7 people out there, and most of them are children. Oh, wait. There's a pitchfork. It is an angry mob.